Hey everyone, my guest today is Russell Van Brocklen, a New York State Senate funded dyslexia researcher. Russell's inaugural program put word analysis first and moved highly motivated, college bound juniors and seniors from a middle school writing level to the average range of entering graduate students on the GRE Analytical Writing Assessment, a 7 to 8 grade level leap in one class period per day over a school year for less than $900 per student. Every participant entered college and graduated with GPAs between 2.5 and 3.6, all without accommodations. As a dyslexia professor, Russell shifts daily reading frustrations into confident academic wins for students facing dyslexia. Welcome to the show, Russell. I want to thank you for being here today. And I was wondering if you could tell the audience what got you started with what you're doing
Thanks.
today.
Thanks for having me. I wasn't supposed to be doing this. This was the last thing in the world I was ever supposed to do. So what happened is it was the late 90s.
Mhm.
I wanted to know how laws were made, not some class I wanted to know. So I signed up for the New York State Assembly internship program. And I show
Okay.
up and I say, here's my neuropsychological evaluation. I have a first grade reading and writing level. Well, the program director kind of freaked because for most interns, you have the assembly member, the
Mhm.
chief of staff, who was normally an intern a year or two before, and the intern. And with a
Okay.
first grade reading and writing level, taking down notes from phone calls or writing up things and I would just screw it up completely. So the director goes up to the speaker's office.
Mhm.
The speaker said, listen, we've accepted this kid. He's dyslexic. You're not getting rid of him because of a disability. You have to make this work. So they got a whole committee together and they did a pretty radical solution. A big part of the internship was the camaraderie with other interns. They physically removed me from the legislative office building and sent me to the Capitol for the Majority
Okay.
Leaders Program and Council's office. And I was like, fantastic, because they had no idea what to do with an undergrad. It was a graduate position, which is a real
Okay.
staff position. I
Yeah.
saw why they put me there. They had 3 administrative assistants that could help turn my cruddy writing into something I could turn in every week. Were great. Then for the academic portion, instead of a 30-page research paper, I did a multi-hour Q&A presentation Q&A session. So after
Okay.
all of that, they
Mhm.
sent back a recommendation of A- for 15 credits to our state flagship campus, the State
Okay.
University of New York Center at Buffalo, to their political science department. They looked at the recommendation of A- for 15 credits, looked at my accommodations, which they don't have to accept the recommendation. They just normally do. They said
Okay.
they were going to lower my grade because they didn't like my accommodations that the state government came up with. Guess
That
what they lowered it to?
a B plus?
F.
No. What?
They flunked me
Why? That's
because my accommodations were so massively extensive to make this
Mhm.
work. Remember, this
Yeah.
was not some private company. This was the state government itself
Yeah.
on order of the Speaker of the Assembly.
Yeah.
And they looked at the accommodations, and they said, here's your F for 15 credits. So at that point, I decided, because remember, I was in the Majority Leaders Program and Council's office that ran the
Mhm.
assembly day to day.
Yeah.
I worked with these people. I did nights. I did weekends. I didn't have to do that. I volunteered. I was offered lobbying positions. I was offered good positions with the state. I was supposed to be a bureaucrat for the state government.
Yeah.
And I turned it down because I said, I'm absolutely done with the discrimination.
Mhm.
So I decided to go to my professors and say, where can I go to force myself to learn to read and write so I can teach others? They said, well, if you like the political science internship, the solution's obvious. You ought to go to law school where they read and write more than anybody.
Oh.
So I
Yeah.
went to law school.
Okay.
And then in my second day of contracts, Professor Warner, who was the dyslexic professor, called on me.
Uh-huh.
And what they do in law school is they use the Socratic method. They ask you questions that almost no first-year student just started can answer. And if you
Mhm.
can't answer, they keep asking you anyway to make you look like an idiot until you adjust and you can adapt to the situation. It's
Okay.
baptism by fire.
Okay.
So when that happened, I didn't respond as a student. I responded as his equal. He
Okay.
tried to he tried to get me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I responded as his equal. He's never heard of it before, never experienced before. Nobody's heard of that before.
Mhm.
And at the end of 15 minutes, he said, "Russell, you couldn't be any more correct. I have to move on to the next case." So just so people know what happened, this is the famous book on dyslexia, Overcoming Dyslexia by Dr. Sally Shaywitz from Yale.
Okay.
It's page 78, figure 23
Mhm.
in the second edition. This is dyslexia. Do you
Okay.
see how the back part of my brain has massive neuroactivity? I'm sorry, the back part of your brain has massive neuroactivity. The
Yeah.
back part of my brain has essentially nothing.
Yeah.
Now, do you see how the front part of my brain is about 2.5 times overactive?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
I use that front part of the brain that deals with word analysis followed by articulation. And
Uh-huh.
everything just came organized and I could see things for the first time in my life. And I argued as his equal.
Yeah.
All right. I solved law school essentially during that 15 minutes. I learned to read within a month completely. I
Oh
learned to
my
write
gosh.
within the next couple of years. Then I left and I went back to the New York State Senate and I said, I want you, which was run by Republicans at the time. And I said, I want you to fund my dyslexia research project,
Yeah.
which they don't do.
Uh-huh.
So they sent me over to the New York State Education Department and they said, "We're interested," because I was looking at better, faster, cheaper. And they looked at me and said, "We want a SUNY distinguished professor in psychology, their highest ranked, to say there's something here." They said, "Where's this out of?" Buffalo. We have the largest university center, the largest college. Psychology is their biggest department in both. There are
Mhm.
zillions of professors. I'm like, there's got to be a lot of distinguished professors. There were two.
Yeah. Oh.
Just so happened that one of them gave me my evaluation a few years beforehand. She said yes. So she said I could go from the first grade reading and writing level
Uh-huh.
to writing above average of entering grad students by turning up a
Wow.
switch in my brain. I'm going from a part that works, that doesn't work, to a part that works.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we're
Interesting.
talking about, here's the research. I'm
Yeah.
going from the back part of my brain that didn't work to the front part that's 2.5 times overactive.
Okay.
Okay. So then I had to connect it with current research. That was Professor James Collins. He had a $1.5 million grant from the U.S. Education Department, wrote a book called Strategies for Struggling Writers.
Uh-huh.
Supposed to take years for him to approve my research. He did it in under 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an advantage of dyslexia.
Yeah.
What I found is dyslexics go to grad school. We own the place day one or soon thereafter. So then we went and I got 15 grand from the university in a
Uh-huh.
university-wide competition. We practiced on several students. We got great results. We took them essentially from the 0 percentile to average or above average on the GRE writing assessment, 50th to 70th percentile.
Mhm.
Then the New York State Senate said, "We will fund your research," at the request of the Averill Park Central School District right outside of Albany.
Yeah.
So what happened there is we took, just so everybody knows, we focused on the best and brightest. I wanted to help students like me initially. So these were highly motivated, highly intelligent, dyslexic kids
Mhm.
who were juniors and seniors, but writing at the middle school level.
Okay.
So their best teacher, Susan Ford, one class period a day for the school year, they increased their writing from the most of them scored in the 0 percentile to the 30th to 70th percentile of entering graduate students based on the graduate records exam analytical writing assessment. So they essentially had the writing skills of college graduates
Yeah.
before they
Wow.
started. So what happened? They all went on to college. They all graduated, GPAs at 2.5 to 3.6. Cost to New York State of less than $900 a kid.
Wow.
The best dyslexic college at the time, Landmark College, and this is from a New York Times article from 2011. Their goal at the time was to transfer these kids to normal colleges, We were
Okay.
2 to 3 times as successful, depending on what data points you look at, for less than 1/10. I'm sorry, for less than 1/100th of the cost.
Wow.
And that's how I got started.
Yeah. That's that's quite the journey. I while you were talking about law school, I was just thinking I took a couple law classes and there's Latin involved in law
Hmm.
school, correct? Like there I remember having so it's not you're not even just learning to read and write English. Like there's
Oh no, when
Latin.
I'm talking about learning to, no, did you take them in law school or undergrad?
It was my degree is a political science degree.
Okay.
So it
If
was like water law and stuff like that.
if you walk inside an actual law school class,
Uh-huh.
it's much more brutal.
Is it I can only
It
imagine.
it makes other. I've talked to people who said they've taken law classes at the grad level, the undergrad. I said,
Uh-huh.
just walk into a law class and have the professor actually call on you. And
Yeah.
they said it was nothing like it. It's
Yeah.
like the difference between being a medical student and and doing things in the ER. It's
Oh, yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about reading better,
Uh-huh.
my property professor liked giving us quizzes once a week.
Okay.
And after the first month, he started giving us a quiz. Now, what you're supposed to do is read for you're supposed to read the multiple choice question and then
Mm.
think for 3 to 5 minutes to answer because they're really sophisticated how to fool you.
Okay.
It didn't happen to me. I read at a fraction of the speed of my peers. I write at a fraction of the speed of my peers, but I can think in orders of magnitude faster. So when I finished reading the multiple choice question and the answers, it didn't take me 5 minutes to give the answer. I didn't take me 5 seconds. I got it within a
Uh-huh.
second. Every time I was like, that's the answer. And I
Yeah.
almost every time I had perfect hundreds. So I would go up 20, 15, 20 minutes in and say, here it is, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is so freaking easy. And the kids,
Yeah.
I'm driving them crazy because I'm finding this easy. I said, yeah, wait until we get to legal research and writing. I just couldn't do it. I could not keep up.
Oh, no.
So, but when it comes to reading,
Mhm.
dyslexics, once properly trained, are superior readers.
So how are you able to train your brain to do that? How are you
Okay.
able to yeah.
Well, let's look at the actual cases. Do you know any dyslexic elementary school kids ever?
No.
Okay. So I want to give your listeners something that they can leave with, that they can actually apply tonight. So I'm going to tell you about Sarah. I worked with her when she was in 5th grade. She was 10 years old, and her favorite thing to do was swimming. But she was reading and writing at the 2nd grade level. A lot of these kids are writing essentially randomly placed misspelled words. The teachers, the parents, the specialists have no idea how to fix this. I'm going to show you how to fix this in about 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So, what we do is, again, I'm going to go back to the science. The
Okay.
back part of the dyslexic brain, the back part of the normal brain, massive activity, dyslexic, next to nothing. Front part,
Mhm.
2.5 times overactive. Okay. So, what we
Yeah.
need to do is to pull the writing activity from the back to the front,
Uh-huh.
from where nothing's going on to where we got 2.5 times the activity. Here's something I need your listeners to really understand. If you can write a word, you can read it. If you can
Yeah.
write it, you can read it. Makes
Okay.
things so much easier that way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, assuming you're teaching Sarah, we're going to open
Mhm.
up a laptop computer with a real keyboard. Not an
Okay.
iPad, not an iPhone, and certainly not handwriting. Then you're going
Okay.
to type out hero, plus sign. What are we talking about? All
Okay.
right. And she's going to copy that. That's okay. A lot of people think you can't copy, it's against the rules. Professor James Collins, Strategies for Struggling Writer, Default Writing Strategy of Copying. Okay.
Okay.
So then we got Sarah, we got hero plus sign. What are we talking about? We're going to swap out hero for Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah plus sign. What are we talking about? Now we're going to have a list of 10 things that the child really, really likes and 10 things that they really, really don't like.
Okay.
So the first thing on Sarah's list that she really, really likes is swimming. So we got Sarah, plus sign, what are we talking about? We're going to swap out what are we talking about with swimming. So we got Sarah, plus sign, swimming. See how we got there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now I'm going to try to fool you with two of the simplest questions you will ever be asked. And if you answer them exactly, this works. If not, it doesn't. And people
Okay.
tend to have an epiphany on what dyslexia really is.
Okay.
I mean, remember, these are two of the simplest questions you will ever be asked. Do you think I can fool you?
I'm scared now.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead. Now, remember, we need a 3-word sentence. We
Okay.
got Sarah, plus sign, swimming.
Okay.
We need to swap out the plus sign for a word. Sarah, plus
Okay.
sign, swimming. Swap out the plus sign for a word. Here's my question. Does Sarah like or dislike swimming?
Well, she likes swimming.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
go ahead and create the sentence.
Sarah likes swimming.
But that's not what I asked.
What?
Okay, let me try it
Okay.
again. Does
Okay.
Sarah
I'm on
like?
cold meds, so
Okay.
Okay.
We got Sarah, plus sign, swimming. We got to swap out the plus sign
Okay.
for a word.
Okay.
Swimming is Sarah's favorite activity ever. So we got
Yeah.
Sarah, plus sign, swimming. Swap out the plus sign for a word. Does Sarah like or dislike swimming?
She loves swimming.
Okay, what's
Right,
the
or it's
sentence?
Sarah loves swimming.
But that's not what I asked.
What did you ask?
I asked, does Sarah like or dislike swimming?
Oh, yes, she likes swimming.
But that's not what I asked. Do I have you completely confused now?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready to have your epiphany on what dyslexia is?
Yeah.
Okay. So just so everybody knows what's going on, here's the science again. You're supposed to be doing this back here where you got all this massive neuroactivity.
Yeah.
Sarah's got nothing. Okay.
Okay.
We got to do the front. So what's happening if I ask Sarah, do you like or dislike swimming? She's going to say like.
Yeah.
What you did is what virtually every educated person does. You added the S and made it a sentence that was grammatically correct. Sarah's dyslexic. She has no idea how to add the S.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Your brain is so advanced back here, you just did what was proper. Sarah has no clue how to do that.
Yeah.
The part of her brain that's supposed to be doing that is functionally almost nothing going on. So
Okay.
now I want you to imagine Sarah was your niece.
Okay.
You got $10 million in the bank. She's coming home crying every day because she's so bad in school. People are making fun of her, calling her names. And then a school like the Windward School comes to you and says, we've been working with students like Sarah for decades and decades. We have a confirmed 98% success rate. You give us Sarah now, we will give her classes of 4 to 5 kids per class, and we'll work with her for the next 4 to 5 years, then send her back to her current school, and she will be as educated as the best private schools on the planet. We're $75,000 a year just for tuition.
Okay.
You got $10 million in the bank. Are you going to pay it?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Most of us don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in the bank.
Right.
So here's how we have mom do it at home instead.
Yeah.
Because what they would do to Sarah is they would use a Orton-Gillingham multi-sensory structured language approach. Hasn't changed much in the past decades. What it does, they use seeing, touching, hearing, multiple senses to try to get her to learn stuff like this. It would take you 2 years and $11,000 to become certified. And then it's going to take, you have to teach her kindergarten through 4th grade, plus everything she's supposed to be learning in 5th grade. And that's why this takes forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with my approach, the older the kid is, the quicker they pick it up because we're using the part of the brain that actually works for us. So we're going to use word analysis followed by articulation to pull it from back here to up here. Okay.
Okay.
So I asked Sarah, Do you like or dislike swimming? She said like. I said, okay, give me the sentence. Sarah like swimming. Now we got to teach her to add the S.
Yeah.
Instead of taking weeks to do this with that really complicated multi-sensory stuff, which millionaires use, here's what we do. We use modern science. I asked Sarah, read that out loud. Sarah like swimming. Sarah, does that sound generally correct? No. Fix it. Sarah
Yeah.
likes swimming. We practice that with 10 likes and 10 dislikes. Do you see how
Okay.
like and dislike is a simple form of word analysis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Now let's go because reason one. Give me a simple reason why a 10-year-old girl would like swimming.
Because it's fun.
Because it's fun. That's almost
Yeah.
what everybody says. Now we got Sarah likes swimming because it's fun. Do you see how we have a whole mess of misspelled words now?
Yeah, I could see that.
Here's how we fix that. We first tell Sarah to read what she wrote, to drop a period, to read what she wrote out loud.
Okay.
Does it sound generally correct? If not, fix it. What we've now done, forget about the spelling now. At this point, teachers have problems with these messy, randomly placed, no grammar, with huge grammar mistakes. If it sounds generally correct, we've eliminated all of those. We got the little ones and some medium ones. Teachers are really good at that. They have a hard time with horrendous stuff. We just fix that. Okay?
Okay.
Now, we tell Sarah, if there's any misspelled word, she has to retype the entire thing until it's correct. And she's going to say, I'm not going to make that mistake again. And she will, for between 3 and 13 times typically. Each time she'll retell herself, I'm not going to make that mistake. And she keeps doing it. And she concentrates harder and harder to the point where 9 to 13 times you can see sweat coming down her forehead sometimes. That's how hard the intensity is. Eventually, she will get it correct. And then you make sure it's correct for 10 likes and 10 dislikes for reason one, 10 likes and 10 dislikes for reason one and reason two, then 10 likes and 10 dislikes for reason one, reason two, and reason three. Now, we said before, like and dislike is a simple form of articulation. Do you see how the reasons are a simple form of, like and dislike is a simple form of word analysis? Do you see how the reasons are a simple form of articulation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, because, again, this is Yale, this is our science, this front part deals with word analysis followed by articulation. We got 2.5 times the activity. We just pulled forward from the part of the brain that doesn't work to the front part where it does.
Okay.
That's why this works so effectively. So that's the third part of the model. But when I switched from the ultra-motivated kids to normal kids, what I found was I couldn't get them to do anything, nothing. And then I thought back to when I was in law school and how this was in my specialty, my area of extreme interest and ability. And I found out from successful dyslexic professors is that they generally did horrible kindergarten through college compared to their eventual peers. Grad school, day one, they were top of their class or soon thereafter because it was in their specialty. It's very narrowly focused. So to show you how important this is, I'm going to spend some time on my most successful student who was 10 ever.
Okay.
Her name was Casey. I just want everybody to know she's a one-off exception. I never saw this before. I will never see this again.
Okay.
Casey was 10, end of second grade. She turned 11 over the summer. She loved Theodore Roosevelt. Okay, she was reading and writing at the second grade level, so I signed her this little book, The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt. All 900 pages. This is written at the 10th grade to first year college level, depending on who you ask. Let's call it 10th grade.
Okay.
So I gave her a very simple system. I said, I do writing first, not reading. And she said, I want to do reading first. And I said, okay, here's how you do it. It's a horribly horrible process. It's nowhere near as effective. Talk to your mom, do 10 or 20-minute sessions. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Casey, I didn't know Casey. She essentially locked herself in her room 3 hours a night for 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Think about that. 20 plus hours a week, a lot more in the summer. going through a
Yeah.
boring process. At the end, she finished this book. She knew every word. You could flip it to there, point to that word, and she would literally tell you the dictionary definition. She jumped 8 grade levels in 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
I worked with her for 15 minutes a week.
Wow.
Okay. It was essentially
That's
all Casey. Now, her mom wanted to know, is that just for a book she's interested in? So I assigned her something she didn't like. This is my most popular book ever, Walt Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination.
okay.
All 1,000 pages, because they say
Yeah.
Disney was dyslexic. Have you ever been to the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland?
Yeah. Yeah. As a
You
child.
walk into Main Street, USA. Do you feel the Disney magic?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Disney magic is 2 universal themes. 2. The
Okay.
first one's so easy to find. The second one normally takes my kids a year or 2 to find. At that point, they're reading as if they're 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Parents
Okay.
are happy with
Wow.
that progress. Took Casey 3 months. So then I got on her mom on the phone because I knew she was going to have a kick out of this.
Uh-huh.
So I said, Casey, what did you think of Walt Disney's book? I hated it. I said, okay, you can now do whatever. She destroyed the book in front of her mom violently. She hated it. And here's why I'm spending so much time on this. I said, Casey, when you went from a book that you loved to the book that you hated, how much did your motivation drop? The most motivated kid I ever worked with, she said about 50%. Most normal kids will say 75 to 90%. So think about that. You step outside of their speciality during the intervention period, you're down 75 to 90% of motivation. It's going to make the program completely ineffective or extremely just putting way too much effort for too little results, which is very common from what I get back from parents. So during the intervention period, we have to focus on the kid's speciality, their area of extreme interest and ability. That's number 1. Number 2, if you ask a dyslexic in their speciality, and this also works for ADD and ADHD, okay? Do you, when you're in your speciality, do you have ideas flying around your head at light speed, but with little to no organization? They're going to say yes.
Okay.
So then what we have to do is we have to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. Let me say that again. We have to force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output.
Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you, when you were in high school, were you a pretty good English student?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
So I
decent.
want you to think back when you were 15, 16. If I asked you, you were given this question,
Okay.
what effect did Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech have on the American civil rights movement in the 1960s? You know just what to do. You just go and do the paper, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For a dyslexic, it's like grabbing fog. So do you remember in school, you would get these big picture ideas, and then they would eventually go down to details over time. For dyslexics, because we're thinking so rapidly with little to no organization, remember, we got 2.5 times the neural activity. It's just chaos. What we have to do is force the brain to organize itself by using writing as a measurable output. How we do that is we go from the specific to the general. So we ask a very specific question. What personally compelled Martin Luther King to want to give his famous speech? We find that information in his biography. That answer gives us another question, which gives us an answer, which gives us a question, which gives us an answer, which gives us a question. That forces our brain to organize itself by thinking in a linear manner, and we measure our success with written output. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we do word analysis followed by articulation. People ask, how successful is this? And I could never tell them with typical students because my clients demand absolute confidentiality. They don't want to share their story. And I respect that absolutely. So December 27th of 2024, I met Kimberly on Facebook. And she said, you can use me as an example. Kimberly is a homeschooling mom, very, very religious. She does not have, she has some college classes, no education degrees, just a few classes. But she taught her sons, his name is Reed, he was in 5th grade. She taught her Reed's four brothers and sisters how to read. Three brothers and sisters how to read properly using traditional methods. They
Okay.
did very well. She failed with him, and she felt very bad about it. Kimberly, I then started working with her and Reed. Reed was really into Wolverine from X-Men. So we used
Okay.
graphic novels that she had to pre-approve.
Yeah.
Okay, parents have
Yeah.
to do that.
Okay.
She worked with him for an hour and a half a week for 5.5 months for the rest of the school year. Now, Kimberly, just before I talked to her in mid-December, paid $700 for the state of Ohio to test her kids.
Okay.
Reed was reading at the 11th percentile and writing at the 4th percentile. She finished up with him at the end of the school year. I'm not going to tell you those numbers because that summer, Reed's friends came to him and said, we want you in public school for social reasons, to go to class together, to go to lunch together. So he decided to go to public school. So they start school early in Ohio. So it's August, beginning to mid-August of 2025. I'm giving you this data because it's inside the public school and his mom's miles away.
Okay.
Reed increased his reading from the 11th percentile to the 64th percentile, his writing from the 4th percentile to the 65th percentile.
Oh my goodness.
So now, the reason Reed went to public school is to be with his friends socially.
Mm-hmm.
If this was January, he would have been put in special ed, not with his friends. Unhappy kid. Now he's in 6th grade, normal classes, getting A's and B's with his friends. His mom did what every parent dreamed of. She solved it by teaching him 7 times faster than the public school could have for less than half the time per week.
Yeah.
And she did it herself. That's how powerful this is.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors real quick.
Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's J-A-D-E, at checkout. What advice can you give to parents that are finding themselves in the same situation?
The first thing that you should do if you're in kindergarten, this is get a copy of this book,
Okay.
Overcoming Dyslexia by Sally Shaywitz. This is the second edition. There might be a more recent one. And then if you're in kindergarten or beginning of third grade, beginning of first grade, you call Yale and you
Okay.
say, how do we test the kid for dyslexia? There are other centers. Yale gets millions of dollars a year. I think it's one of the best. So I'm just using this as an example.
Okay.
And they will tell you it's something like, I don't know, 25 or 50 bucks a kid to test for dyslexia. The teacher can do it. It's extraordinarily accurate. And then you need to go to the school board and not take no for an answer. You are
Okay.
going to test my kid for dyslexia using Yale's method or some other one recommended by a comparable academic institution. So it's the International Center for Dyslexia and Creative Studies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the number one book in my field.
Okay.
Okay. It's brain scans of dyslexic. She's a senior medical doctor. All right.
Yeah.
It's all the credibility you can get. Then once you find your kid's dyslexic, they have a list of federally funded programs. They're like $1 million a piece. Okay. And with that, they work. Pick what you want. And if you use those properly in kindergarten or at the latest beginning of first grade, probably by the end of third grade, they're going to pass their state reading and writing, their state reading test at the end of third grade. Why? Or be close to it. Why is that important? Because kindergarten through third grade, we learn to read. Fourth and above, we read to learn. If your kid is in fourth grade or above and you want to use the traditional approach, you're talking about schools like the Windward School with a 98% success rate. It takes 4 to 5 years on average at $75,000 a year, or you can do it cheap in kindergarten.
You're right. Okay.
Now, if they're real young, that's what you do.
Okay.
If they're fourth and above, you can go ahead and do the Windward thing. You can sue the school district, and what federal judges have said, essentially what it comes down to this is federal law, not state, federal.
Okay.
Did you do the Yale thing? Did you listen to Yale or a comparable institution? No. You are grossly negligent. Not negligent, grossly. Now you got to send your kid to Windward, which is in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Or Gowell, who's been doing this. This is their 100th anniversary this year for 100 years.
Yeah.
Outside of Buffalo. Do you want to send your kids to boarding school?
Right.
Most parents don't, even if they get the school to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, or you can do this and teach them at home.
Yeah.
And by the time you fight the school, you could have already solved the problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, sometimes parents will say, well, my kid's in ninth grade. How do you do paragraph writing for that? I say, it's not a problem because I use the craft of research. And they're like, what's that? After I presented in New York City and I went to the professors and I said, some of my students scored in the 70th percentile of entering grad students. I thought I did something amazing. I thought I was done. I was wrong. Every senior professor looked at me and said, we don't care. We want the craft of research, which came out from the University of Chicago in 1995 because their PhD students didn't know how to write dissertations.
Oh.
And they asked me to take those skills and drop it to school kids.
Huh.
Okay. So the craft of research is based on context, get everybody on the same page, a problem statement, and then something original. So I drop context to 9-year-olds.
Okay.
Okay. So let me give you an advanced form of context. Okay. For body paragraphs. How far did you go in your education?
Graduate school.
Okay. What did you get your grad degree in?
Water resource policy and management. So,
okay. Was that 1-2-year degree?
It was a 2-year degree.
Okay. So most people will do a master's degree for grad school.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-year degree is so much harder than a 1-year degree.
Yeah.
So you represent one of the most educated, most people, PhDs, not good. Master's is the optimum degree. You represent one of the most educated class of people in the United States. Are you ready to learn how to write body paragraphs better?
Yes.
Okay. Remember, I teach this to 6th and 7th graders.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to think, let's start off just to explain the idea of a universal theme, because this is the next thing you can work with your kids on.
Okay.
I want you to think of a movie that you really enjoyed, that you think is one of the best ever, that everybody's seen. What's the name of that you still know a lot about? What's the name of that movie?
The Wedding Singer.
The Wedding Singer. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you a tough question. You're going to have to think for a moment.
Okay.
Reduce The Wedding Singer to a one-word universal theme. The best represents it. One word.
Oh. Comedy?
No, it's something. What emotion? What's it about?
What emotion?
What's the purpose? Yeah.
Oh, love.
Love. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, most reviewers who are Ivy League educated will tell you exactly what happened. This happened, this happened, this happened. And then it's like watching a sporting match where you're recorded and somebody tells you what the score was. Why what? Does sound familiar when you read reviews?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now what we do is we take the universal theme of love, and then you ask, how do the actors as a class, how did the director and how the screenwriter do in relation to that universal theme?
How do they
Okay.
do?
How do they do in the universe based on the universal theme of love?
Okay.
Do you see how using a universal theme as a lens to focus, you can now write an intelligent review to let people know what you think, and you're not making it bad for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's why did I spend so much time on that? Because the universal theme of love is so broad, it's hard to focus with it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is, here's just a simple version of how to do advanced body paragraphs using advanced word analysis and articulation. What we do is we have a hero. Hero wants to do something.
Okay.
It's a sentence, it's a paragraph. We look for the best, most important word. I pick a most important word of each sentence, or just the one sentence, and we find out we pick the best one. That's our base universal theme, just like love.
Yeah.
But we need to get something much more specific. Then what we do is I have the kids type out the word, the universal theme, and we go to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary. They do not copy and paste.
Okay.
They do not copy and paste. They take the definition they like and they type out the word and the definition, typing on a real keyboard.
Okay.
Now, here's why I do that. How many times do you need to type out a word and the definition until you know it permanently?
Probably depends on the person, but maybe like 3 times.
3 times, 5 times, 15, some number.
Yeah.
That's what I do with these dyslexic kids. They type out the word and they type out the definition. At some point, as they keep going through this process, they are going to know it permanently with hundreds of evolved words. That's the jump in the reading level. When they're 15, 16, taking their SATs or ACT, the verbal section is essentially a vocabulary test. They know what the words means. They know absolutely what the words means. They remember 70, 80% of the definition. My kids don't have to study those. They already know it.
Yeah.
Drives their gen ed peers crazy because they did this at 11 and 12. So we come up with we go through, we put it into the thesaurus, and then we got 5 words, 10 words, the whole level, multiple levels, whatever the instructor you decide to have the student do. They type out each word. They type out the definition. They're looking for the definition that best matches in their head. Now, the parents tell me all the time, my kid won't do it. I said, exactly. If you're outside their speciality. If you're inside, they will do it. Remember, this is only for the intervention period. Once the intervention period is over and they can read and write at grade level or above, then you can stick them back into normal classes and they're fine. Okay?
Okay.
So now we have a much more precise definition that best matches what's in the student's head. So we can focus much better. Then we pick the optimum villain, a person or a concept. Then we put the optimum villain is the best one that can prevent the hero from accomplishing their goal. We put that into a simple sentence. Do you see how that's an advanced form of word analysis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we go and we get 3 really good reasons. Not any reason that comes to your head, the best reasons you can think about. Then each reason we turn into a simple universal theme. One word. And then we use that. We pick out a quote from that universal theme at the beginning of the material and one at the end. So we have 2 quotes.
Okay.
So you remember in grad school, you would use like 2 or 3 quotes per paragraph instead of like one or occasional one every couple of paragraphs in high school and college?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now we got 2 quotes from the same
Okay.
universal theme. We then take those 2 quotes and we use that to create our topic sentence.
Okay.
Now, do you remember when you were doing, especially in grad school, you had your topic sentence and your data, which in this case are quotes, and you
Mhm.
see how they never flowed very well?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you ever thought about using a warrant in a body paragraph?
A warrant?
Yes. Now, most people with master's degrees have no idea what a warrant is. Do you have
No,
any
I don't.
idea?
No.
Okay. It's in the craft of research for
Okay.
PhD students.
Okay.
What a warrant does is it connects the topic sentence and the data by answering a how and why question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because both quotes are based on the same universal theme, I use one warrant to connect the topic sentence with the 2 quotes. And then we
Okay.
add some stuff for high school and college kids based on the craft of research in the New York State exam for high school kids for writing in high school. But just those 3, let's just keep it to that. A university professor reading those body paragraphs will go, "Oh, this kid wrote using a warrant. This is college level." And I'm
Yeah.
teaching this to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
where this gets real fun is a lot of my kids have older brothers and sisters who are fighting to become valedictorian of their
Okay.
class. Okay. They're in AP English as seniors. Now, their 7th grade kid brother or kid sister is writing paragraphs that aren't as eloquent, that don't flow as well, don't have as good of a word choice. But they are technically more advanced because they're using a warrant, according to a university professor.
Uh-huh.
Drives the AP kids in high school crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that would have been very helpful to know a lot of that, like, even, as someone without dyslexia, I
Mhm.
think that would be very helpful with, writing research papers and stuff.
Well, just so you know, I don't have permission to tell a story now, probably soon. I met another podcaster. He has a genius son who's not dyslexic. I'm just going to call
Okay.
him Bob.
Okay.
Bob is 10 years old. He scored in the 99th percentile in
Oh my
in
gosh.
science and math.
Uh-huh.
So, where do you think what Bob's real reading level is?
Oh, I I'm just I'm just gonna guess it's lower than you would expect just because of the
No,
theme
he's a
of the.
genius. He wants
Okay.
to work at NASA.
Okay. So
This kid is a
like, out of the
certifiable
water.
genius.
Yeah, I would guess he's at a doctorate level reading
Well, he's 10.
ability. Oh.
The last thing I gave him, he wants to know about Mars. I had it
Yeah.
created with artificial intelligence. I said, give me the history of Mars, create it with peer-reviewed resources only, peer-reviewed journals at the
Okay.
PhD level. Then I lowered it to 9th grade understanding and advanced 6th grade reading. He was bored. So then I moved it to 12th
Oh,
grade understanding, 9th grade reading, and he's still kind of bored.
really?
I have to see where I have to jump it up to. But
Yeah.
I'm taking him through the entire craft of research process. What
Yeah.
we just talked about, how to come up with a problem statement, how to come up with a solution that matters. All
Yeah.
right. Now he's 10. What I told him is if he could try to publish during his senior year of high school,
Uh-huh.
that would be fantastic to help him get into grad school.
Yeah.
He absolutely has to publish in grad school to even be considered for NASA. I said, but
Yeah.
you're starting off at 10.
Yeah.
So we are not only using this approach for dyslexics, but for the super smart kids as well.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. That that's, I it's I just I just think of how helpful that would be for other people that don't know that the resource is out there. Um, but
Yes, and this is parents teaching their kids because just look at where you are.
Uh-huh.
Did you find that you learned how to learn new things in a grad program that made undergrad look kind of like a joke?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was definitely challenged harder,
Yes.
in my graduate program.
So
Yeah.
if you had to go and learn something new,
Mhm.
you are just trained. I don't care what your 2-year master degree's in.
Yeah.
You are trained to learn at a much more rapid rate.
Yeah.
And now we got artificial intelligence. Here's the scary thing about it. What they're finding is people at our level. We're senior. In
Mhm.
our specialty, we don't need to look up anything. We just know it cold. So companies are giving people like us a lot of time to adapt to artificial intelligence because we know everything. The kids coming out of school don't, and they're finding it really hard to get jobs. I'm talking about
Yeah.
excellent students with super high GPAs from top colleges with real majors, and they
Yeah.
can't find work. So here's how you can use what I'm teaching you. Get a copy of the craft of research. You have to understand context, problem, solution, or we can
Okay.
show you how to do it at a much easier way.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is you have to get everybody on the same page, find a problem statement that's worth solving, and then come up with an innovative solution.
Yeah.
AI, once you understand that, AI can help out tremendously because right now, and this only changed, we're recording this in January of 2025.
Mhm.
A month ago, this didn't exist. 6 weeks ago, this didn't exist. Now we are moving from us working with AI to guiding AI to do the actual work in 30 to 45-minute increments. And by the end of the year, we're probably going to look at an hour, a couple hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So the AI is doing the work. So if you understand context, problem, solution, you can work with it, you can guide it, even if you know nothing about it. To give you an example, not in 25, but in 24, I had a kid that I
Mhm.
worked with graduate. He walks into his job and he hates AI. His boss loves it. He said, "How can we use AI to come up with something innovative?" He wanted to see, could you contribute?
Okay.
So he calls me up in a panic. "I know nothing about AI." I said, "I've trained you in the craft of research. You practiced it for 4 years. Now, what I need you to do is go ahead and talk to AI, type it. I don't care what model you use. Just talk to it, type with it, get through context." So he did. He comes back a couple of days later. I said, "Good. Now go do problem." He comes back. "I hate it." I said, "Welcome to the grown up world." So then he goes and does solution. He
Mhm.
came up with a little problem they've had for like forever, wasn't worth them solving. He solved it. Within a week or two, he is actually teaching AI to his peers. He said, this is what I
Wow.
found that worked with context, problem, solution. They're like, "What's context?" He's like, "Craft of research." "We don't know what that is." So he literally had to teach. He said, "I'm teaching them the craft of research and how
Yeah.
to do AI that I know nothing about. This is what I figured out."
Yeah.
And the supervisor loves it. My peers love it. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but apparently they like. I said, "Yeah, welcome to being dyslexic.
Yeah.
There's an advantage to it." So I'm just saying is it's that important
Yeah.
because AI is not going to replace people when it comes to connecting things. It's good at doing the academic grunt work and to
Mhm.
getting you a really good first draft. But then
Yeah.
as a human, you have to be able to rip it apart and clean it up. And how we do that, simple work thing is we start off by doing a deep research report. So just so you know, Anthropic was founded by people that that came from OpenAI who made ChatGPT.
Okay.
They said, okay, OpenAI is going to have the consumer. They have in 2025 about 5% or less of the user base and about 75% of the revenue because they deal with businesses. I spend $100 a month because I'm on it all the time, or you can do 20 if you're not on it as much for Claude, um, Claude Opus 4.5. I
Okay.
use that. I tell it to do a deep research report before I do anything. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. It does that,
Yeah.
3 to 4,000 words. And then I say, here's what I'm trying to do. How does it compare to the report? I get that. And then I ask it to, here's it really important. The last thing you wrote, I want you to tell me if the percentage it's ready to publish. If it's not ready to publish, tell me what percentage it is.
Okay.
explain it in a paragraph, then tell me up to 100 errors. Notice I said up to 100 errors
Uh-huh.
that is preventing it from being published. Then tell me exactly how you want to fix each one. Then do not rewrite the entire document. Just make those recommended changes and then do a fact check. And then you
Okay.
repeat that until it hits 100%. Then I ask it, how do I use 5.2 thinking from OpenAI,
Okay.
ChatGPT? When they came out in December of 2024 with a $200 a month pro plan, I
Yeah.
bought it that day. I
Okay.
got rid of it last month
Oh,
because
really?
5.2 thinking will now think for 5-10 minutes, and that's all you really need. I would ask Opus 4.5, how do I do a deep research project on how to create prompts for 5.2 thinking? Then I
Uh-huh.
would say, okay, create a prompt to tell it to review what you just wrote. And then I'd run it. And then I would ask for its max. I'd ask, what do you like? What do you dislike? And based on what you dislike, give me an exhaustive things you want to see corrected, keyword in as long of a narrative as possible. Okay.
Okay.
Then I would take that, put it back into Opus 4.5 and say, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And then you, as the human, I generally go with what it recommends. You would have
Mhm.
to decide as the changes that should be made and run that multiple times until it's coming back with just crazy, very little stuff.
Yeah.
At that point, this takes a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You now have a really, really good draft, which now you need to bring to a senior human who's going to make some more modifications, but it's real close.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
don't use Gemini 3 that much. It's not as stable. It's not as good. I
Yeah.
use it if I have to. I spend $20 a month on that in case I have to pull out something from a YouTube video or something,
Yeah.
or if I have to do cover art. I use that for its graphic processing.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
really good at that. So I went from 200 a month to 140. I went from one platform to 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you use Grok at all?
No,
No.
no,
I
it's too far behind.
it's that's I was trying to make a graphic on Grok and didn't it didn't work, but I'm able to make
Yeah,
what I want with Adobe. So, but
Google. If you try, it's $20 a month. If you try Google, it's Banana something,
okay.
Banana Pro. It is so much better than anything else out there.
Okay.
Or there's one thing called Mind Journey or whatever that's also very good with certain types of graphs. But for
Yeah.
business purposes, I need something real, not cartoony.
Yeah.
And I use Google's for that, and it is really good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to check those out. Um, is there is there one thing that you would really like to drive home to the audience? One important point you wanna make?
Yeah,
Like
I want you to think about during the intervention period.
mm,
Remember what I said about Casey?
yeah.
You go outside that kid's speciality, you're down 75 to 90% motivation for
Yeah.
most kids, especially if they're ADHD.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they're ADHD and you can't get them to do anything, get them in their speciality and try ripping them away. I have had traditional families where dad is the authoritative figure,
Yeah.
just give you that as an example. And I literally had to tell dad, I need you to go in to where your kid is and physically pull them away and bring them to the dinner table because
Yeah.
they're forgetting things about eating and sleeping in school. That's how
Yeah.
into it they are.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is they're not used to dealing with. I said, you have to physically remove them.
Yeah.
I have talked to principals, not the teachers, not the superintendent. I've talked to principals where the kid was really bad off and they're
Uh-huh.
so frustrated and they're really into the project. I would say, no more homework, no more tests for this kid until we're done.
Yeah.
And then they would look at what we're doing and they're like, I want to send my kid to middle school where they can freaking read and write. So they tell their teachers no homework, no more tests until the
Yeah.
kid is finished with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Remember, Kimberly was 5.5 months with Reed. Most
Yeah.
parents do 10 to 15-minute sessions a couple times a week, so it takes longer. You have the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
these were for parents and kids that really put in a lot of time. And then I said, okay, principal, I'm not asking for some really expensive test.
Uh-huh.
You pick as the principal some book that's not in the kid's specialty, assign it to them. The parents will make sure they do it. And then
Yeah.
just have your teachers tell them, are they basically at grade level? I'm not
Yeah.
talking about some precise test. Is this solved?
Yeah.
Give it to
Yeah.
your hardest grading teacher. And they come back and say, the kid's doing C plus, B minus. Then I would say, okay, well, that's functional. That got them in. I'm not saying I'm going to take your kids and turn them into valedictorians. I'm saying they'll be functional. I said, okay, put them back in the normal classes. They're doing fine. And the principal said, I can now send my kid to middle school and not do a social promotion. It was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And not all principals will do that, but some will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to focus on the kid's speciality because the schools are going to go and do this book, then this book. We have to get through 5 books this year or 10 books. Well, until you got the kid at grade level, you're just pounding them into the ground. Yeah. And the school is not trying to be hard on neurodiverse kids. Yeah. 80+% of their kids, let's go back to the science. They got this massive neuroactivity in the back part of the brain. Yeah. That's who they train the kids for. Yeah. We are completely different. So to really sum this up, I want you to imagine back when you were in school, if you did 2 things. If you planned your study habits properly. Okay. And then number 2, you worked really freaking hard. Not for every class, because we all have ones we're not the best at, but in general, then you did really well to really, really, really well. And if you didn't do those 2 things, you did badly. It was that simple, right? Yeah. Yeah. You could have a dyslexic kid working 3 times harder than you, and they would still flunk. Until we do an intervention period and use the part of the brain with 2.5 times the neuroactivity instead of the part that doesn't freaking work. Yeah. Let's give Michael Jordan a basketball and not a hockey stick. Yeah. Yep. That makes complete sense. Even again, as someone without dyslexia, I can see in my own studies how much easier it is for me to excel with topics that I enjoy versus topics I don't, so it just makes complete sense that would be the breakthrough. It's that simple. And you represent one of the most educated people in the country because most of us, the optimum degree is a master's and you have a 2-year master's. You can simply learn more efficiently than the vast majority of the population because you were trained to. Mm-hmm. And obviously you're really smart because there's no way you got through a 2-year master's degree with having anywhere close to an average IQ. It's way above to do that. Yeah. All right. My IQ, just so people know, I was Dr. Holichka, the SUNY Distinguished Professor in Psychology, put me at 127, which means I just missed Mensa. There are a lot of people a lot smarter than I am out there, but I'm smart enough to do what I do. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But if anybody wants to know how to connect with what I do, if they just simply go to the internet to dyslexiaclasses.com, that's dyslexia classes with an S, plural, dyslexiaclasses.com. Okay. There's a simple button there that says download free guide. Just click on that. You answer 3 questions. You get your report about how to help your dyslexic kid get past dyslexia in school. The most important thing is to set up a time to speak with me for half an hour. There's no cost. Okay. And I can tell you, I can go over 3 questions, see if your kid's dyslexic or not, if they're ADD or ADHD or mildly dyslexic or not. And then I can help them find their specialty, their area of extreme interest and ability, and they can pick out their book, which they'll spend the next bunch of time working on to overcome it. It's that simple. Yeah. Awesome. That's you're doing an awesome thing.